What's up, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Tales from the Pit.
Hey.
It's your boy Shane Smith. I'm joined today by the king of dark energy, S.O.N.
We are different but the same. We are moving as a beast that goes by many names. Eternally undying, forever we're together. Tethered at the soul, our being will never weather. Locusts swarm from inside the cathedral as I sit in meditation, holding a scarab beetle. I watch the abyss as it spreads amongst the people, asking only one question: am I evil?
Hey, what up, y'all?
Right on for joining us today, S.O.N, man. Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to speak to you.
It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Been a big fan of what you got going on for a while. You're killing it with Legion.
Thank you.
You know, the music's been incredible. We're gonna go ahead and start at the beginning and take it all the way back, though. We're curious about where you came up, where you grew up, where you from. What was the childhood like?
Man, I was all over the place at first. I was born in a little town called Katanning, Pennsylvania. I was a child of infidelity.
Sure.
So shit was a little weird, you know what I'm saying? Shout out mom and dad. Sure. I feel like the most important part of that entire piece of my life is when I moved to Sharon, Pennsylvania. I was, I think, around like 8 years old. It was around the time the Wraith Shangri-La came out.
Sure.
And that's around the time I found the Wicked shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like, I started listening to the Insane Clown Posse when I was about 8. And my neighbor Doug, shout out to Doug, he really got me into everything. He got me into ICP, he got me into Twisted, and hip hop in general.
Sure.
I would like to make that a big point because if it wasn't for the hip hop influence, I don't know if I'd ever picked it up, but Doug and Kilo and all the people that I came up with, they freestyle, you know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
they start to
Okay.
circle and shit.
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
impressionable. I remember looking, I was like, yo, I want to fucking do that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So eventually I got in on that. And
On rapping, you were
Yeah.
in the freestyle circle.
yeah.
Okay,
Eventually
okay.
I became king of that circle. You know what I'm
Gotcha,
saying? I started
gotcha. Okay.
off like awful. You know what I mean? I think everybody does.
Right,
No one picks
right,
that up and just
right.
is good at it, especially off the top of the head. But
Right.
eventually it became more like I was just outshining my peers. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
And
sure.
then I don't know, we got to a point where I started laying shit on wax, and it was weird, man. I didn't have a lot of direction, I'd say,
Okay.
until later in life. I can't
Okay.
really pinpoint the exact
Okay.
moment it happened, but I think a lot of life experience, a lot of pain, a lot of spiritual experiences kind of led me
Sure.
to the moniker that I am now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Talk to me about the early music, because with the S.O.N moniker, there's not a ton of catalog to go check out.
Yeah.
Was there music recorded previously under a different moniker? Is there music that exists anything that you're gonna let fans check out in the future? Was there projects you put out? Did you have any collective pieces that you put out under that moniker?
There were pieces of music that are dead now, they're long gone.
Okay.
But I'd say the peak of that was probably when I started running with the AXE boys. Right at the end of that era, I'd say I did a couple tracks with them. And there's shit from there
Okay.
you'll probably never hear.
Okay.
But
Where's that stuff at? You guys still have those recordings?
I'm sure Bill does somewhere.
Okay.
I know that Move Back was probably like the last thing of that entire like alias though.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
honestly, all it is
Okay.
adolescence. No one want to hear
Right.
that shit anyway. I
Right.
promise. It's just like it was just me getting a feel for what I was doing.
Sure,
You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
sure. How did we even come to? You're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
How do we even come to link up with the AXE boys?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Me being a juggalo growing up, I ended up in like a lot of circles, you know what I'm
Sure,
saying?
sure.
And I ended up through my boy Tom.
Okay.
I met a lot of the Portsmouth ninjas and the juggalos out there.
Were you
and
guys going to
whatnot.
shows or?
So basically what it was me and Bill ended up talking on the internet, and he was like, we were just homies, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
And then
okay.
he was like, yo, you do music.
Yeah.
At the time I didn't have a lot out, but I had a music video, and like I'll probably put that out again. There's a
Okay.
Scrub King music video. I'll probably
Okay.
put that out again one day.
Okay.
But he hit me up and he was like, yo, man, do you do music? And I sent him some shit, you know what I mean? And he was like, all right, well, we're working on this right now. He sent me the sampler for Head of Horns.
Okay.
And they actually, Joe and Bill drove to my house to meet me. like so we could not like I don't want to make it sound like I was of importance. We wanted to all meet up, and at the time I didn't drive, so him and Joe came out to my house and they stayed for a couple days. It was me, Bill, Joe, and MJ Lovecraft, and like we sat in my mom's living room writing music and shit, and like going to the cemetery.
Sure.
We played Morton's List, and honestly, it's been history ever since then. Those are still some of my best friends.
Right. It's crazy that you guys linked up so early. They went out to you. Now, Joe Black tells a story about babysitting son. I always hear this reference. I got to get clarification on that story. What's up with this?
I used to live with Joe Black.
Okay.
And
At what age?
I was I'd say I was 21.
Okay.
I'm 28 now, but I was about 21 years old. And Joe had a lot of influence on me. You know what I'm saying? As far as some of the media I'm into, a lot of things I ended up checking out. He looked out for me. They both did, but Joe housed me.
Sure. Talk to me about Granna's Eyes, the making of the record. Was it already known that you wanted to have Billy do most of the production for the album? Did that just come about naturally?
Man, everything that I feel like ended up happened in such a weird natural progression. I had been working on and off on that record for years.
Okay.
And it was like I didn't know what direction I wanted to take it, blah blah blah. I had a decent premise in my head that I wanted to run with, and I've always been into music, so I wanted to do something.
Right.
And you know, man, I'm obviously like a very spiritual person, and it's really weird. It's almost like divine timing. You know what I'm saying? Like everything just seems to line up in the right way so we can get shit cracking.
Okay.
Bill hit me up randomly during the pandemic and was like, "Yo, I'm making beats now," and he started sending them to me, and I don't know, man. Part of me feels like those beats are made for me. You know what I'm saying?
They sound like it, man.
Yeah.
They really did.
On some real shit, it's like that doom bap noise is very much, I identify S.O.N. with that.
Yeah.
Going forward, Bill's going to be doing a lot more production on my work.
Okay.
As far as like projects and whatnot, like we've been talking a lot about just making more music, man. You know what I mean?
Needs to happen. What about the LLE camp? I mean, I remember at Camp Zool 1, they asked who they should bring into LLE, you know, and I remember I said S.O.N. I think it just fits. Is that something you have interest in? Is it still better to just solo ride these days with your own Legion stuff? Where are you at on that?
I don't know, man. I think things get complicated when you start talking money, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So honestly, man, I just kind of go with the flow.
Okay.
Those are my brothers, and I love them. And if I'm Legion Realm or fucking anything, you know what I mean? Like those are going to be my friends, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you'll continue to see me at Long Live Evil events and whatnot. But as far as that goes, who knows what the future holds?
Talk to us more about Granna's Eyes, the making of the album. I think when I look at Head of Horns, the album was so good. They were so good right from the start, you know, right? Yeah. That album was so great. It just when you heard that record, you were like, this is something's happening here. This is great stuff. I feel that way about Granna's Eyes. It's a great project, man.
Thank you.
I don't know if it gets its just due yet in the scene, you know, as I feel like there's still some hesitancy for cats to come over into the, you know, this side of the camps, you know what I mean? But talk to us about the creation of the album, from writing. You said that it was a struggle at times. Talk to us more about that.
So, Granna's Eyes is a blessing on my life, man. Like when I look at it, I can't believe it happened the way it did.
In what sense?
In the sense of the way everything came together to make the final piece of art that it was. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I understand some cats are still hesitant. And honestly, when we were done with Granna, like the last recording like session I had for it, and the last song I recorded was the Hive.
Right.
We left the studio and everyone was excited. And you know what I mean? Everyone, they hear something, they get excited, they think the world is, you know what I mean, coming to their feet. And it's like, I told everyone, I was like, this is going to be a slow burn.
Okay.
But it's going to happen. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's obviously there. You feel me?
Right.
Like I said, it was hard putting it together because I didn't know what direction to take it. And actually, the first track I recorded for Granna's Eyes was the title track, Granna's Eyes, and I recorded it with Low Key in Oregon in his RV. Shout out to Logzilla for always looking out. Dude helped me a lot towards the beginning when I was trying to figure out what track I was trying to get on. I would record pieces of the record, and I would marinate on them for a while and try to figure out if I was doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like if I was going in the right direction with it. and I'd sit there and I'd kind of get into like a meditative state almost. Sometimes I'd take it out in the woods with a Bluetooth speaker over at Nelson's Ledges and shit, and we'd sit and just try to vibe out, hear it bounce off the trees almost, you know what I mean? Piece by piece, it came together, and the vision became more clear. And then I started to understand. It's weird because in a way, as I was working on it, I was being granted eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like my vision became clearer the more I did and the more I moved my feet. And then I realized, oh my God, this is all about surrender to something greater than myself. The more I just move my feet and don't question what's going on, the more it came together and the more it became what it needed to be. See, I feel like a lot of people make shit and they get egotistical about it, and they want to claim ownership of this is mine. But I can tell you guys that album was happening to me as it was happening to y'all. You know what I'm saying? So like the strange feelings that come from it, all that's all genuine, and it's all been experienced by me too. So, and I honestly think that's why I take longer to put projects together as well, because I'm constantly working on something. I do a lot of this shit myself, you know what I mean? So
it feels like it's been a minute since we had a release, but that album wasn't that far off. And it is just such a solid project. You know, I think we can respect the approach of more solid projects as opposed to just more shit to put out, to have stuff put out and pushed. You know what I mean?
Because there's music recorded that I banked that I probably won't see the light of day for years.
For what reason?
It was because I had made it with the intent of putting it out to keep people entertained. But that's not what I'm about. That's not something out of nothing. S.O.N. is very much about you getting what you need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Not because you want to hear something. Because by the time the project comes out, you're not going to think about the time in between the projects. You're going to be focused on the piece of art. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just receiving messages and moving my feet and working, man. So whatever amount of time it takes, that's the amount of time it takes.
What about, I remember hearing you speak about projects with other artists that you were working on. Cody Manson project was mentioned. Is there still stuff happening with those? And is there any other names that you can mention that you were working on or considering working on stuff with?
I have. All right, so first thing I'm gonna say is I'm very bad at collaborating. Meaning,
how so? How so?
In the way that, like I said, I'm usually constantly working on something. So unless I'm like around somebody a lot, the idea doesn't really come up. Now, Cody's my brother. We have a lot of weird synchronicities too, man, and he's killing it right now. Shout out to Cody Manson.
He's killing it. Everybody's fucking with Cody right now.
Yeah, Cody's killing it right now. We've talked about the project multiple times. It's just about the right timing. It'll happen, you know what I'm saying? For sure, it's just when and where. Different projects with different people. I would love to do something with Keegan Grimm. That's my brother. I would love to get a project going with him. I don't know if y'all know Clockwork Eve, but those kids are fucking super dope. They're going to be here tonight.
They're on the show tonight. Yep, absolutely.
I wanted to bring, because I feel like this crowd hasn't been exposed to them, man. I wanted to bring them out. I don't know, man. There's so many dope artists in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? There's just so much dope shit.
There's a lot of dope shit happening right now.
And we just kind of got to play it by ear. You know what I mean? Like I know I've mentioned shit out of excitement before, but like I said, I feel like that was at a stage where I was really worried about entertaining the people that were here. When I realized that the people that were here were forming a connection with the art, it would be cheap and superficial for me to rush something out the door just so you buy it. Fuck that. I'm good on that.
Talk to us about. We're here at Sam Hain's ceremony, obviously. You know, putting your own events together. What's that like? Is that something you take a lot of pride in? It feels good? Is it a good feeling at the end of the night when these events go off and you guys killed it, you know, and Legion did its thing? Talk to me about putting an event together.
We started putting it together last year. It's always been an idea for real, but it feels good to, at the end of the night, know that everything went as smooth as possible and the people that are walking out of that door are, I don't know, satisfied. You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing that like I'm a concert goer. Bro, I feel this shit on a level that I can't really explain. So like when I have the opportunity to put together something fucking super dope for people, it feels great, man. You know what I mean? And it's cool. Like I'm a guy that like if I'm doing something, I like eventually to be on the other side of it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm fucking, I don't know, if I was watching wrestling constantly, then eventually I would like to work in the wrestling field. You know what I mean? I do love wrestling, but this kind of encompassed my life. So to answer your question, it's a great feeling, and I like it a lot.
Talk to us about New projects, S.O.N, new work. We got any new albums coming? The new album is, I feel like we've been kind of tight-lipped with information surrounding the new projects. I remember I spoke to you a little bit at Camp 1, and you were vague. You were vague, but you had it seemed at the time as if you had an idea in your mind about where you wanted to take your future projects.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that? Is there things you can share with us about that?
That idea is the same too. Like there is a mission that's a clear shot. It's just about timing again.
Okay.
And if I don't feel like working on it at the time, then it's probably not going to happen at that time. I'll say this: next year is going to be a big year. I'm coming swinging. The messages have been super, super clear, and I play everything by the rule of 3.
Okay.
If y'all remember that, there's 3 points on the triangle.
I do.
Just know that I haven't forgotten about you guys, and everything is coming to light at the speed it needs to.
I think we'll leave it there. S.O.N. Like I said, man, pleasure for you joining us today.
Thank you, brother.
We're going to keep this shit rolling, keep giving you guys some dope content. We'll be back in the future with some more freshness. Peace, y'all.
Filthy and rusting, spreading like disease in a third world country. There's no stopping what already's been done. The blessing has been bestowed. We are legion, we are one. I'm not the one to test, so don't